With Halloween just hours away, authorities are urging families to stay alert while trick-or-treating. Our Andrea Sosa talks with local law enforcement about how they plan to address this issue and keep the community safe this Halloween.
Thank you, Salora and Ava. I'm joined today by Deputy Vincent Cruz from the Sheriff's Department. Vincent, thank you for being here with us.
It's a pleasure.
Because Halloween is coming up, I wanted to ask you, how do you know from candy packaging that there has been a little bit of tampering?
Well, usually reputable companies will seal them, so any rips in them or it looks like it's been resealed, it's an indicator that it may have been tampered with or if it's legit.
Mm-hmm. How often do you see packages on candies being tampered, like especially around Halloween time?
Very seldom, to be honest. Usually parents are really good about picking the candy from reputable sources, from stores, but we hardly ever get any calls that have anything to do with Halloween candy being tampered with.
Just in case, if there is a little bit of tampering on some of these candies, what are some of the practical steps that the parents can do to make sure that the candies are safe for the kids to eat, or for them to eat as well?
Like I said, they can go to reputable companies, go to neighborhoods that they know of, not to go to dark alleys, go through neighborhoods that they're not familiar with, people they're not familiar with. If they do find candy that looks like they're tampered with or looks a little iffy, they're safer to just toss it out if they're not sure. I mean, I'm sure the kids are going to get abundance of candy, so tossing one or two is not going to be harmful to them.
And you mentioned something very, very important. A lot of times, right, people do go door to door, like old-fashioned way, but now there is community events like Truck and Treat,
right,
where people can bring a bunch of friends and they could do it on the back of their car.
Right.
I wanted to ask you, do you think that's a step or a way for safety for kids when it comes to getting candy from known sources or from friends of theirs?
Yeah. It's actually way safer because these days communities will actually block off entire neighborhoods and just have the children walk freely around the neighborhood with no cars. It's usually the kids in the neighborhood, but you can go to local websites, find out if you're having one in your neighborhood or if there's a neighboring neighborhood that's having something similar. But usually there's law enforcement present, streets are blocked off, and they do have food trucks and different companies that bring candy versus just going to random houses down the street.
Mm-hmm. With these Truck and Treat events, obviously it replaces the old school door to door.
Right.
What are some of the benefits coming from it?
Well, you know who they're coming from. So if let's say for example you do get candy that is tampered with or it looks a little iffy, you can always source it to where it came from, in case anyone with nefarious intent does happen to slip a candy through there. You can always see who it came from and then backtrack that way, versus going to random houses and by the time you get to your own home and inspect the candy and it's tampered with, it's harder to track that way. So that's one of the benefits to having isolated distribution of the candy.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people, they don't really have the community to go to Truck and Treats and stuff.
Right.
They might have to go old school door to door.
Right.
What are some of the tips that you would give to young kids and parents if they're still doing the old school traditional way?
There's nothing wrong with doing it all the way. My family still does it that way as well. But you should look out for not only tampered candy, but homemade candy. Homemade candy, homemade wrapping, anything of that sort. A lot of people would like to give homemade dishes that they created on their own. A lot of people like to experiment with their own kind of candy making, so they will wrap it in their own ways. Not to say not to trust them, but I would take a second guess or second thought of taking candy that's not professionally wrapped. But there's nothing wrong with that.
I want to say, hopefully it never happens. Worst come scenario, they go old school manner and they get a candy that looks a little bit dodgy, a little bit of tampering in there. What should parents do when it comes to candy? Should they just throw it away and just be it is what it is, or should they inform the local police?
Yeah, throw it away. Don't even inspect it on your own. Just throw it away. In the event you do find something kind of iffy, you may think it may be laced with some sort of drugs or something dangerous, I would notify local law enforcement and just let them handle it. And if they think there's something workable with it, they'll just take handle on that.
In your opinion, What are some ways the community can do to make sure there's safety overall?
They can communicate, plan ahead, communicate with your neighbors, which neighbors are going to participate in the Halloween festivities, which ones are not, which ones you should probably avoid, because I'm sure everyone has those neighbors that they want to avoid. So let's all collectively plan ahead. It's like, okay, we're going to go to these houses, and then also do some sort of community watch. Everyone has children, so if your neighbors can watch out for your children, get their phone numbers so that everyone's in the loop, and that will better ensure that the children are safe and everyone has a good experience.
With a lot of the fears of the candy, there's also been a lot of rumors on social media. How important is it for people to actually base off what they think based off actual reports compared to actual posts on TikTok, for example?
Yeah, it's hard to kind of decipher which are misinformation and which actually real. Although the chances of getting tampered candy or any kind of harm from the candy is very low, it's never 100%, right? So we always want to do our due diligence when we're dealing with any candy, food, anything with children. So I would still always take the precaution before you let your children consume anything. And if they do consume something that sparks any kind of questioning or something doesn't seem right, just like I said, just toss it or call local law enforcement.
Vincent, thank you so much for your time and also for informing us about this problem that we're having for Halloween.
Yeah, no problem.
Back to you guys in the studio.